and are like, oh no, Grandpa's fine. Grandpa will be perfectly fine, even though they both look at each other and they're like, Grandpa's dead. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Apologies that it's a little darker than normal today. It's actually very early in the day, but we're getting a rainstorm, so we're getting a little bit of mood lighting. I hope you enjoy. We are reading a bedtime story today, so it kind of works. I also have a giant thing of tea. Oh, you can see how full it is. Yeah, giant fresh cup of tea. I need it today. For those of you that watch this series but maybe don't check out my Vampire Diaries videos, I just wanted to say thank you so much for getting me to 1K. So cool. We hit that milestone last week and I am so excited. The channel is monetized now, so this is just crazy. We're coming up on about a year of me making these videos and I'm just so excited to see what this year brings us. Like, this is just so cool. That being said, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get on in to this week's bedtime story. Okay, so we open up episode 8 with Hook jumping down from the beanstalk. So the giant didn't eat him. That's great. He lands though, and Kora shows up and she's like, so you turned on me because Emma's pretty? Like, how ridiculous. And he says, oh no, Kora, I was lying to her. I was always gonna turn against her and go to you instead. Like, you were always my #1 partner. So she decides that she's just gonna leave him behind. She's not gonna kill him. She's just gonna let him sit there in the enchanted forest all alone, knowing that he'll never get his revenge. So Hook tries to hit on her. He literally like smolders a little bit and he's like, I'm sure we could come to some kind of an agreement. And she's like, your pretty face can get you a lot, but not that. And she just leaves him there. I hate that moment though, because there's always going to be something so inherently sad to me about characters that try to use like their bodies in that way. It breaks my heart. Anybody else playing Baldur's Gate right now? I'm an Astarian girly. I'm sure none of you are surprised. Kora then goes back to like a makeshift vault that she's got. She pulls out a heart and it's actually connected to several other hearts somehow by the magic. And she like brings back all those people from that village that we saw when they found Hook, you know, he was hiding under the bodies. She brings all those people back as basically zombies and sends them after Emma and Snow. Mary Margaret admits to Aurora that she's actually also been in the burning room. She didn't want to scare her before, but it is, you know, connected to the sleeping curse. So she knew all about it, and that's why she was so kind to Aurora about the dreams. This is great news though, because it means that Henry is actually meeting with Aurora in that room, and theoretically they should be able to get information from Rumpelstiltskin about how to defeat Kora. So even though Mulan is anxious about it, Aurora continues to meet with Henry. Henry ends up telling everything to Charming and Regina is so upset to find out that it's her freaking mom back in the Enchanted Forest, because remember, Regina sent her to Wonderland. So what is going on? Belle is dating Rumple again, like officially. They are like on a date at Granny's Diner, and as you can imagine, the town is not handling that very well. They have so many scenes where the people around them, like the extras, were clearly told, like, stare at Rumple. You don't like Rumple. But it means that Belle will be like in shot, and behind her at the booth at Granny's, there will be people literally just like mean mugging Rumple over her shoulders in shot. It's very distracting, but so funny. Regina comes, and initially Granny is like, everybody out, they're gonna start fighting, we all have to run for our lives. And Regina's like, would you calm down? Okay, we're civil, we're all adults here. And she tells Rumple about Kora being back. He's like, that's not possible, but also he's scared because Kora is supposed to be dead. She reminds him that now that Belle is back though, he has a weakness. So he needs to help her defeat Kora, and he agrees. Henry is really excited about the fact that he's able to help and go and talk to Aurora, and it's like only him that can do it, even though it's getting a little bit more dangerous each time they go, because they have to like let the connection grow stronger, and that's leading to burns on both Henry and Aurora. David is also wearing his gun holster in these scenes. I'm weak. Rumple tells Henry that the girls need to go to his jail cell back in the Enchanted Forest, and there's some squid ink, which is what Charming and Snow used to like freeze Rumple that one time. They thought it was the quill itself that allowed them to do that, but actually it was the ink being used. For some reason, while Henry's trying to pass on this information specifically, he can't control the flames. I think it's because Aurora is being woken up by Mulan. Mulan wakes Aurora up because the zombies are attacking. She takes Aurora and runs away from Snow and Emma, leaving them behind. But then Aurora gets snatched anyway. She ends up meeting back up with a fleeing Emma and Snow after they've like run away from the zombies. So now all three of them are a little testy with each other. So Kora kidnapped Aurora, knowing that they would come after her to save her. Aurora doesn't think they will, but Kora is like, no, you don't understand. The Charmings are like loyal to a fault. They're gonna come for you. Also, Aurora was hoping to go to Storybrook with them, and Kora like exploits that and calls her like a stupid girl and like basically makes fun of her for like forgetting about Philip. And Aurora's like, that's not true at all. I just want to be happy again. And Kora just sucks. So Kora then dangles the possibility of getting Philip back. She basically says that when wraiths take your soul, they don't like destroy it, they send it to another realm, and you could potentially bring it back and reunite it with the body. But Aurora thinks like A, she's lying, or B, she's just, you know, being hateful. So she throws her stew at her and tells her that she'll never give up her friends. Then Kora sends a raven after Snow, and it lands on her shoulder. Mulan almost shoots it, and Snow's like, hold on, and she talks to the bird and finds out that Kora has Aurora. So she can talk to animals, confirmed. Mulan obviously wants to like immediately take the compass and go save Aurora, but Snow convinces her to give them like at least 24 hours, and she basically decides she's gonna go back into the dream world because technically she could get back to that burning room. So they now have to go get poppy seed powder, which is what Emma used on the giant, and then that will knock Snow out enough that she'll be able to go sleep, and she will meet with Henry. Remember how Henry is getting burned though, so now Regina and David don't really want him to go back into the room, even though Rumple is like, are you guys stupid? He has to go. And he's like healing the burns for him and everything to keep Henry safe. David makes the decision for everybody that he is going to go into the deep sleep and be put under a curse. Why does he want to do that? Because he trusts Snow so much that he's like, if something happened to Aurora, Snow will figure out how to go back into that place, and I will be there waiting for her, okay? And then when we see each other, she'll kiss me and I'll wake up because of true love's kiss. He has so much faith and trust and pixie dust in her, I can't deal with it. Hook wakes Aurora up in the jail cell, and she's initially like, whoa, don't touch me, and he's like, excuse me, but I'm freeing you. Interesting way to say thank you. He tells her that he's mad at Kora and he doesn't like to be double-crossed, so he is sending Aurora away as proof that he wants to help Emma and Snow, which is what he told Emma when Emma was leaving him behind. So Snow and Emma bond over the fact that they have like both hurt their loved ones, and specifically their children, and they're trying to like come to terms with that. But Snow reminds her that Charming always says to never give up and like good always wins and blah blah blah. Emma starts tunneling all of her anger and hatred into Regina, so I'm sure that that won't have any ramifications. Oh, I'm reorienting myself. I have a bit of a sugar rush. My husband just came back from brunch and he brought me a surprise waffle. So if you see my hands shaking, that's all it is. All right, we get to watch Regina do magic, and she's using like a cool little chemistry set. Henry's super fascinated by it. She makes David a sleeping curse, and then Henry gives him the potion that Rumple had made him to like control the flames. That way David will be safe. Rumple then drops on them that David's gonna have to find the burning room, because what happens when you first go into the sleeping curse is like eternal darkness, which Snow already described. Then when you go back to sleep after having been woken up the first time, you get to go to the scary burning room. So David's like, oh, wonderful. How am I going to find it? I love that you waited this long to tell me. And Rumple is like, we should have just used Henry. Good luck, Charming. And then they prick David's finger on a spinning wheel and he just falls asleep on the couch. Mulan makes the poppy seed powder for Snow and blows it into her face, and she goes to sleep too. David wakes up alone in a dark room, unsure of how he's going to find the burning room, but the little potion that he's wearing around his neck glows like a little flashlight, and so he follows it. Meanwhile, Snow is all alone in the burning room. So David ends up having to like smash through some mirrors and like break through a wall, and then he lands in the burning room. Unfortunately, his potion breaks, so he can't control the fire anymore. But he sees Snow, so they can talk to each other, but they can't get through the flames, so they can't kiss. He tells her about needing to get the ink, but it's so cute because he says it in a way that's like, this is what we have to do. We've got to go to the cell and we need the ink. So he's always talking about them in terms of them being a team, even though like Snow and Emma are separated from him right now. Oh, it's so cute. He jumps through the fire. Like he literally just like yeets himself through the flames and lands in front of her. But when they go to kiss, they realize it's a netherworld, so they can't actually touch each other. So that's not good. She's absolutely distraught, thinking that he's gonna be trapped there alone. He says that it's okay, and he knows that she's gonna come for him. She's just gotta get home first. She asks him if their fate is always to lose and find each other and then lose each other again, and he says he doesn't believe that. They tell each other they love each other, and then she wakes up and disappears. Henry is really worried because David is still asleep and the necklace is broken, and they can see that it's broken. So he's freaking out. Rumple and Regina lie to him and are like, oh no, Grandpa's fine. Grandpa will be perfectly fine, even though they both look at each other and they're like, Grandpa's dead. Snow wakes up freaking out, and Emma's like, whoa, calm down. We're gonna get home. Everything's gonna be fine. And then they realize that Mulan has run off with the compass. Kora attacks Hook in the cell for letting Aurora out. She steals his hook from him and goes to carve out his heart with it. But he says he brought her a gift and tells her to look in the satchel. She looks in and is like, is that? And he's like, yes, it is. And with it, you'll get everything you want. So Snow and Emma track down Mulan. They're wrestling for the compass and fighting each other. And then Aurora shows up. She says she's fine and they need to relax, and Hook let her out and he's on their side. Except no, it's Kora holding Aurora's heart, controlling what she says to them. Kora also implies in this moment through Aurora that Hook cares for Emma, and Emma is like, no, he doesn't. Don't say that to me. And Hook is in the cell and he's like, ooh, wonderful detail. That was perfect. She's gonna eat that right up. So his plan is to like go back to the girls and continue the trick and get the compass back and then come back to Kora, and they'll escape together, leaving the girls behind. The girls tell Aurora the updates about needing to go to Rumpelstiltskin's cell to get the squid ink, except oh no, that means Kora also knows too. Flashback Hook is like skulking about in his pirate clothes, except he has this like real sexy chocolate brown velvet coat on. There's something about him in brown. The fact that it's not a black coat, but it's like a dark brown chocolatey coat, I can't deal with it. He's in a tower and he finds Belle and he's like, I've come to free you. I need you to help me kill the monster that took you. And Belle is like, what monster? What are you talking about? And Hook is like, you know, Rumpelstiltskin, he kidnapped you and he's evil and now your dad's life is in danger. And she's like, oh, yeah, Rumpel's not evil and I will not be helping you kill him, but I would love to see him again. So thank you so much for letting me out. And Hook is like, oh, that sucks that you're so pretty, but so useless, and just backhands her to knock her out. He goes to kill her with his hook, and then thankfully Regina comes in and is like, up, don't do that. So we get some context here, which is that Regina is the OG person to tell Hook about the curse and Storybrook and all of that. She made the original deal with him where she was gonna bring him over, let him kill Rumpelstiltskin in a land without magic so it would be easy for him to do. All she wanted in return was for him to go kill her mom in Wonderland. Hook in these scenes is just so evil. Like, his true villain era is so important to me because as he progresses on, he's just the best character. I love him so much. So Rumple, meanwhile, in Storybrook, no longer believes that Snow and Emma are going to be able to defeat Kora because of all the problems they're having. So he tells Regina that they're going to have to like put a block on the portal area basically so that whoever comes through dies. she doesn't want to do it because so far she's only used her magic in like extremely important circumstances. So she hasn't lied to Henry. She's been really well behaved, and she doesn't want to risk hurting Emma and Snow because she thinks they could make it through. But Rumple plays on the fact that she's got all this mommy trauma and she's super afraid of Kora, and so reluctantly Regina agrees. The girls get to Rumpelstiltskin's cell, but the only thing they find is a piece of parchment with Emma's name written on it in black ink over and over again, and all four of them go, "Oh no, where is the ink? The ink is not here." Guys, Henry is being left in charge of babysitting David. Regina feels horrible for lying to him because he keeps telling her things like, "Oh, Mom, I'm so glad you've changed. You're really working so hard to be different. I'm so happy that you're so better now. Like, this is great." Rumple and Regina go down to the mines and steal all of the magic from the diamonds that the dwarves just found. In the flashbacks, Regina gives Killian back his hook, except she's enchanted it with the ability to take one heart. So he was obviously supposed to use it on Kora, but we know that he waited and used it on Aurora instead. Once he gets to Wonderland, he gets taken to the Queen of Hearts, who of course is Kora in disguise. He gets close enough to stab her and puts his hook in her chest, but she doesn't keep her heart there. That is so awful. So she then reaches in to grab his, and he's in like horrible pain, and he tells her everything she wants to know. So he gives up the fact that like Regina's going to Storybrook and there's a curse and blah, 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 and he was helping for revenge and all of it. She then convinces him that he should actually work with her because Regina kind of lied and she didn't tell him the truth about the curse, which is that even if he'd gone to Storybrook in the very beginning like everybody else, he would forget who he is. So of course he agrees and switches sides because he's always gonna pick what's best for him. That's like the key thing with like Hook in the beginning. We then see Aurora in the cell thinking about just stealing the compass because they keep leaving it out because they trust her. Also, no one has realized that the ink is in the parchment. Like, no, still, nobody's even considered it. Aurora then closes the cell on them and they're like, "Aurora, why would you do that?" And then Kora and Hook show up and she's like got her heart in her hand and she's like, "Oh, don't feel too bad. It was my doing. Like, she didn't mean to turn on you." We get this scene of Emma and Hook talking between the jail cell bars, and that will come back to haunt us in the worst way imaginable. But she begs him, being like, "I have a son. That's why I turned on you. Like, just let me get back to my son, please." And you can tell that Hook wants to listen to her. Like, there's part of him that really did truly want to work with them and help her, but her betrayal really freaking hurt him. So he says the time for deals is done and he's done with her. She says, "You would have done the same thing though." And he's like, "No, I would not have." Grumpy finds all the diamonds in the mine gone. So he calls the code red with Ruby and they go after Regina and Rumple. In the flashbacks, Hook brings Regina Kora's body. I'm not sure if he like faked giving her a heart or what, but he says she's dead. So she's got her in a coffin and Regina's like saying goodbye to her. And she basically says that she never forgot Kora's lesson that love is weakness. So she couldn't bring Kora with her to Storybrook or leave Kora behind because Kora is her weakness because she loves her. And Kora is supposed to, in this moment, like rear up and take Regina's heart and either kill her or control her forever, but she doesn't do it. Hook comes back into the room and he's like, "Girly Pop, what was that? You just didn't do the plan like we discussed." Kora says, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to change it." So Kora is the reason why that area of the Enchanted Forest was safe. So her and Hook were basically gonna just freeze in place for 28 years until the curse breaks. And then she's gonna wait until Regina like absolutely is broken and needs her. And then they're gonna go to Storybrook and both get what they want. Sick and twisted. In Storybrook, Regina and Rumple go out into the woods to the well because he says that that's where the portal will open up. I don't know how he knows, he just does. Rumple starts casting the spell to block the portal, and it is basically like a lightning situation, so it turns the well water into like an electrified pool. So that's not good. Emma and Snow finally realize that the freaking ink is in the parchment, so they use it on the door and they're able to get out. They can't take Aurora though, because she can't be trusted, so they tie her up and Mulan promises to come back for her with her heart. Kora fixes the lake. Remember Lake Nostos that like returns things that are lost? She like opens up a geyser in it so that there's water so that they can fix the ashes from the wardrobe and make a portal again. They open it up, but before they can jump in, Emma and Snow and Mulan show up and they shoot the compass out of Kora's hand. Emma and Hook get into a full-blown, like, sword-fighting wrestling match in the sand. It has no business being as attractive as it is. I love the fact that they are, like, almost equally skilled and they're so good at fighting with each other. It's incredible. Mulan and Snow, meanwhile, take on Kora, but she has magic, so it's not going well for anybody. They nearly drop Aurora's heart into the pool, but Hook, like, risks his own life to, like, bend over backwards and catch it with his hook, and then he throws it to Mulan. Emma picks on him about it, and she's like, I didn't know you were so nice, and he's like, I'm not, I just have a code, because he has, like, a weird moral compass pirate code where like he doesn't like unfair fights and stuff like that. This though is when we get the awful moment where he like pins Emma down to the ground and he says like, I normally like to do more enjoyable activities with a woman on her back, followed quickly by, when I jab you with my sword, you'll feel it. Yeah, I've never really fully forgiven him for those lines, but I like to think that Emma never lets him live them down. But then Emma beats him anyway and punches him in the face and knocks him out cold with one punch. She's feral, and so she has the compass and she's looking at the portal and she's like, thanks for this, let's go home. Henry and Ruby get to the well alone for some reason. I guess maybe it's supposed to imply that Ruby tracked them by smell. Where's the rest of the town? There was a whole crowd before. So Rumple knocks Ruby out to keep her from yelling. Henry wants them to trust that good always wins, and he really believes that it won't be Kora coming through. Regina, though, is like, I can't risk Kora coming and destroying everything, Henry. Like, she will hurt you. We can't trust her. So Kora, who has not been knocked out in the fight, uses her magic on Snow and Emma before they can jump into the portal. She is gonna take Snow White's heart because she says Regina needs her, and the one thing Regina's always wanted is Snow dead. But then before she can reach in and grab it, Emma gets in the way, so Kora's hand goes into Emma's chest instead. Except she can't rip out her heart for some reason, and then Emma uses a blast of magic to send Kora flying away. Snow obviously is like, whoa, holy crap, my daughter has magic, she's a magic wielder, this is insane. Emma is having a panic attack, so Snow's like, you know what, why don't we talk about this when we get home? Let's get in the portal, and they jump in. Henry freaks out and just begs Regina to listen to him and trust him, so thankfully she goes and like absorbs the scary lightning spell, but then everything goes quiet and the portal is like closed and no one is coming out of the well, so it looks like they killed them anyway. But then Snow and Emma freaking climb out. Henry tells them that Regina saved them, and Emma and Regina have a moment of like looking at each other and smiling. Ruby and Snow run off to go help Charming, and then Emma ends up telling Regina the truth about Kora and like what happened, and she's like, I'm sorry your mom is so crazy. And Regina's like, yeah, it's okay, welcome home. There's something here. There could have been something here. So Snow goes running to Charming and she kisses him and he wakes up and he's like, oh, you found me. And she's like, did you ever doubt I would? And he's like, no, of course not. Then he pulls away again and he's like, although you know what, the burning room did give me a little bit of pause. And they laugh and it's so wholesome. And if these two don't have I'll always find you or you always find me or something like that in their home somewhere, what is the point? Emma goes to Rumple because she's still dealing with the whole, like, my whole life has been planned out for me. She feels like Rumple specifically, like, orchestrated everything, but he explains to her that, like, yes, he made the curse and he made the rules of the curse and everything, but he didn't make Emma. Everything that she's done for herself, and she needs to remember that. She tells him about how when Kora tried to take her heart, she used magic, and that's, like, the first time she admits that she can use it, and Rumple is like, yeah, I didn't give you that, dude. Like, that comes from you alone. We go back to the cell where Mulan is giving Aurora her heart back, and the implications here are just wild and crazy, but they decide that they're gonna go try to save Philip together. Kora and Hook are standing together over the waters of the lake, even though the portal is closed, and she's like, well, That's it. I guess we'll never go home again. And he says, girl, you gotta stop doubting me, okay? And shows her the petrified bean that he took from the giant, which the lake should be able to bring back to like full properties, and they should be able to make another portal. Henry hugs Regina and thanks her for once again trying to be better and making the right choices. David and Snow are still making out, just right in front of everybody, but they stop when Emma comes in. Henry ends up going with them out to eat because that whole gang is like going to celebrate. Regina gets left behind, which I honestly can't believe that no one thought to take her with them in this moment. It's crazy. Rumpel, of course, sweeps in to be like, oh, maybe one day they'll invite you too. And so we can see Regina like starting to break. The gang goes off to dinner at Granny's, and behind them on the open water, we see the freaking Jolly Roger come into port. So everyone should be nervous because Hook and Kora have still arrived. Kora and Hook arrive in town. He wants to just rush off and start killing people immediately, but she says, slow your roll, dude. We need to wait a second. We hard cut to Snow and Charming in bed. It is the funniest scene ever. Okay, they're being real cute and making out and doing other stuff, and then Emma and Henry come home, and because it is a loft apartment, they just walk into the bedroom. Henry's like, guys, why are you still in bed? And Snow is like, oh, I was tired from the journey home and I needed to rest. And Charming goes, yes, and I needed to help her rest. Emma is like, would you two put some freaking clothes on? We're making tacos. What's wrong with you? They're just like a giggling mess though, because they love that they could still traumatize Emma even though she's 28. We cut to a flashback of Regina the night that Snow and Charming defeated King George, and she decides to go after Snow because she's insisting that she kill her anyway. But then when she catches up to Snow, it's actually a big trap, and they kidnap Regina too. So this is when they like officially won the war. The town throws a welcome home party for the girls, and there's this big like, welcome Mary Margaret, and it's like a big sign. And then attached to it is like a tiny sign that says like, and Emma. And it implies to me that they have these signs made of like, congratulations, welcome, happy birthday for like the residents of the town. Regina shows up right as they're toasting. She made a lasagna. Everybody's a little anxious, but Emma is like, no, I invited her. Like, she's welcome here. Henry's really happy that she came, but no one talks to her, even though they all eat her freaking food. It infuriated me. Emma watches her sneak out and then runs after her and says like, hey, don't you want to stay for cake? Archie made a cake. And Regina's like, oh, no, I'm okay. I'm just gonna go. And Emma's like, okay, bye. And goes to leave. And Regina's like, thank you. And Emma's like, yeah, you already said that. And then it comes out that Emma only invited her like because Henry wanted her to invite her, which is not what Emma said in the beginning, and not the attitude that Emma had inside the room with everybody else. I don't love the way this is written. Regina then like gently asks if maybe Henry could start staying with her a little bit more since like she's behaving and doing so well. And Emma says she doesn't think that's a good idea. So then Regina like yells at her a little bit, but then immediately starts crying and is like, I'm sorry, like I'm just upset because it's her kid and they're keeping her kid from her. And Emma is like, yeah, it's okay. I forgive you. You know, Archie said you were trying to change and I can see that he was telling me the truth. And so I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's hard. You're going to have to give us time. And all Regina hears is Archie told you secrets about my sessions with him. So she's angry. Kora and Hook are watching all of this unfold, but Kora says they're still waiting for Regina to like officially break. So Regina, of course, goes and confronts Archie, but he swears that he didn't betray her trust in any way. He gave Emma like the basic, like bare minimum of like, yes, Regina's been coming to see me. I believe she's doing her best to change. That's it. Clearly, though, Regina doesn't believe him anymore, so that's gonna be a problem. In the flashbacks, the gang, like the main court, has a meeting to try to decide what they want to do with Regina. Everybody says that they should kill her, including David, but Snow's the only one that's kind of got some reservations about that. Ruby watches Regina go in to see Archie late at night, and then we follow Regina into the room. Pongo is freaking out and barking at her, which is weird. And then Regina grabs Archie by the throat and kills him. We then get to see Regina like walk away, and she poofs into a thing of purple smoke, and it's actually Kora. Emma and Henry find Pongo freaking out the next morning. Ruby comes out and says like, oh, Wolf senses something's wrong, we need to go with Pongo. They send Henry to school, and the girls go to Archie's office and find him dead on the floor. Obviously, Ruby saw Regina, so she immediately blames her. In the flashbacks, Regina is in her cell and her dad comes to visit her. She is still serving face, like all the makeup. She looks beautiful, even though she's in like her prison rags. He blames himself, but she says that she would never blame him because he's the only person she still loves, and he's the one that stands by her always. He begs her to show remorse because he believes that the Charmings will spare her if she just gives them a reason to. Emma and Charming bring Regina in for questioning, and it really confuses Emma because she can tell that Regina is telling the truth and she didn't kill Archie, but also Ruby was telling the truth and Regina did go see him. The guards bring Regina to be executed while Snow and Charming watch with the rest of the court. Cricket Archie tells her that she can use this time as like a final confession before she dies, but she says that her only regret is that she didn't cause more pain and take more lives and wreak more havoc. So everyone's upset and they go to kill her, and Snow still stops the arrows. In the present though, Snow and Charming both want to lock Regina up because they're like, she killed Archie, she's the worst. Emma, like I said though, doesn't believe her because it doesn't make sense and it's not true. Regina is also like patiently waiting in the interrogation room, and Emma's like, that's the face of a woman who just wants us to give her a chance. So once again, I'm just saying that I wish the writing was a little bit better here because I think Emma is written to like have forgiven and like be trying to work with Regina, and then she'll randomly be like, no, I changed my mind, and then she'll go back to that place of being like, no, we should forgive her. And it's annoying because I think given the context of everything, Emma, what she's saying in this moment is like, you guys didn't trust me in the beginning. That, I think, is the biggest part of her character that relates to Regina. And then they're both Henry's moms. So we didn't have to do all of this like back and forth with them fighting once Regina starts trying to change. I just think they kept it because like it's drama and it's good TV, but it's not super realistic to me. So Emma insists that they let her go because she's Regina here and not the evil queen. And they've got to figure out the truth before they like do anything crazy. In the flashbacks, Charming is again like, wife, what's your problem? We were supposed to kill her. Snow insists that like that's not how things are supposed to be done, and she doesn't want to do that, and she saw Regina saying all those horrible things as just her way of like appearing strong in her final moments because she didn't want to cry in front of them. But she says she remembers when Regina was kind and good, and she thinks she could be that woman again if they just give her a chance. Charming is skeptical, but Rumple shows up and is like, I can make you a deal, and I think we can figure out the truth. So the Charmings go through Archie's office and find Regina's file empty, which once again makes David and Snow think she's guilty. But Emma is even more confused because she's like, normally it's really hard to find evidence, and yet here we are with all of this stuff mounting up against Regina. They go straight to Rumple, who was about to have a cute little picnic date with Belle, and they interrupt that moment. Rumple tells them to just ask Pongo for the truth since he was the witness, and then he gives Emma a dream catcher and she uses her magic for like the second time to look at Pongo's memories, and they see Regina come into the office and attack Archie. That freaking dream catcher is also gonna come back to haunt us in arguably the worst season. So in the flashbacks, Snow goes to see Regina. She gives her the option to like be free and walk out of her cell into a new life and start over. Regina is skeptical, but she's like, okay, if you're sure, except the moment she gets outside the cell, she attacks Snow White. Snow has a secret dagger like hidden very poorly in her sleeve. Regina is an idiot, so she grabs that secret dagger and goes to kill Snow, saying like that's what she's always wanted to do, except the dagger doesn't work because it was enchanted by Rumple, so it was all a trap, and now Snow is like, all right, a life for a life. We're even now. We're done helping each other. You are banished. I never want to see you again. Really badass moment of Snow White also being like, you know, I'm not going to kill you right now, but if you ever hurt one of us or anybody in my kingdom ever again, I will kill you on sight. The Charmings go to get Regina at her house, and once again Regina is like, but I didn't do it. What the heck? So she thinks Rumple's lying and he must have done it. But Snow is like, Rumple didn't use the magic to look at the memories. Emma did. And we get this moment of Regina looking at Emma and being like, you can use magic? And it's so soft the way that Emma like also looks back at her and is like, there was something there. Regina then begs, though, to see Henry first because she wants to tell him what's happened because he's her son and she didn't do it. But Emma rounds on her and is like, he's my son! And so again, there's all these moments of like, we like each other and we could be friends. I hate you. And it's so whiplashy. They try to trap Regina, but it doesn't work. She ends up using her magic to attack them, which only proves to Emma that Regina is secretly still evil and she's not capable of change, which is just not true. So Regina is heartbroken and runs away. Emma then has to tell Henry what happened, and we see Regina watching from her car crying. We then cut back to flashback Regina alone in her big castle with her dad. Rumpel comes to visit her, being like, well, I'm your only friend, so I thought you might like some company. It's the Charming's wedding day, and this is the moment when Rumpel plants the seed, where he says he was very specific in the deal he made with Snow, and he said that Regina would never be able to harm them in this land, but if they use the curse and go somewhere else, she can do whatever she wants. Kora comes to Hook, being like, wonderful news, Regina has finally lost everything. And he's like, oh, good for you, girl. I would like my revenge now, please. Can I leave my ship and go into town and find the crocodile? She's like, did you not see the gift that I left in the hold for you? And they go up and see Archie tied up in a little storage space. So Kora wants to use him to figure out Rumpel's weaknesses and says that the person that she actually killed in Archie's place is just some random guy from town. She doesn't know who it was. Hook is like, yes, I love torture. I can make him talk. This is gonna be so much fun. And that's the freaking end of episode 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's bedtime story. If you did, don't forget to like the video and comment down below. I love talking to you guys each week. Keep an eye out as well for a compilation video of season 1 now that we've moved into season 2. I'm gonna start making like compiled videos of my smaller segments once I reach the end of all the seasons I'm doing. That should give you guys that like to rewatch an easier option instead of having to like go through the playlist and like watch every small video, but I am still keeping the weekly format, so don't worry about that. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye!